Hey Freedom Gorillas, today we have the Springfield Echelon. We're going to take a look at what Holosun optics fit on this platform, as well as their ability to co-witness. And for those of you who don't know what co-witness means, all I'm referring to is when an optic is installed on the slide, how much of the front and rear iron sights you're able to see through the optic. That way, in case of any optic failures, you're still able to use the iron sights to aim. So if you're familiar with the Echelon at all, you'll know that its claim to fame is that it essentially has all different types of footprints. And it's doing that based on this pin and screw system. Now, all of these do come with the Echelon when you purchase it, and we'll go over all the pins and different screw combinations so that you can install all of these. But if you lost your pins or screws, or maybe you got it secondhand, CHPWS does make plates specifically for all of these optics as well. So either one of those combinations will work to install these optics on the Echelon platform. And for this video, I'm going to show the co-witness of both. That way you're able to see which one you prefer. Now, to start off with the pin sets, there are 3 different pin sets for the Echelon. Now, if you only see pin set 2 and 3 on your Echelon, don't worry, because pin set 1 is already installed. Pin set 1 is the RMR optics. So that's the 407C, 507C, and 507C ACSS, the 508T, and the 507 comp. And then you could also use the 509T or the 509 ACSS with that pin set. And for the RMR pin set, use the screw kit that says 507C and 508T. Okay, so as promised, here is the CHPWS plate. This one is specifically for the RMR optics, not including the 509T, but essentially it is going into the exact spots where the pins were for pin set 1 here. We took those out. So that would go in here, and that would eliminate any gaps in the front or rear of where the optic goes, and then you install using the screws provided with the plate. So without the plate, there is a slight gap. I don't have the pin set in there, but there'd be a slight gap in the front and rear. If you wanted to eliminate that totally, that'd be another reason to use this plate. And again, the other reason you'd use this is if you lost the pin sets, or maybe got the second hand and didn't get any pin sets. Okay, so as you saw, the plate definitely is thin, so it's not bad. We definitely lose some of the co-witness ability if you're not using that pin system. And for the 509T, it doesn't matter if you're using the pins or a dedicated plate, there is no co-witness. And one additional side note, if you have the 509 ACSS, not the 509T, there is a slightly different footprint, so you'll have to use the pin system just so the 509 ACSS's plate will fit, because this will not work for the 509T. We have a whole video explaining that, which I'll link in the description. All right, and next we're gonna go to pin set 2, which is the Delta Point Pro. This is the one we get the most questions asked about. So the SCS 320 is a DPP footprint, and with this pin set and screws, it'll be able to fit right onto the slide, and I'll show you exactly how. All right, so you get the pin sets. Obviously these two go in the rear, and the ones that say have an L goes on the left front. The one that has a right goes on the right front. So they just drop right into here, and I'll show you what this looks like in a second. Okay, hopefully you can see this. There's an R for the right front, there's an L for the left front, and then the 2 regular pins, and the SCS 320 simply just goes right on. And then we're going to use the screw system to clamp this down. Okay, quick note here, use the screws that come with the SCS 320. Otherwise, when you use any other type of M4 screws, there's like this little play in it, there's like a gap. So don't use the screws that come with the Echelon. You have to use the screws that come with the SCS 320. This is just an example. These aren't the correct screws that are on here. Okay, and quick side note with the SCS 320, CHPWS does not make a plate for the DPP footprint on this platform. So the only way to install this is to use the pin system on the slide. Okay, next we're going to pin set 3, which is the RMSC footprint. We have the 407K, 507K, 507K ACSS, the SCS carry, EPS carry, and the full-sized EPS. And side note on all of these, they are not the full RMSC footprint. They're a modified RMSC. They do not have rear lugs like a regular RMSC footprint has. So we're not going to install the rear pins on the side. We're only going to install the front pins on this. Okay, so this is how it should look like. Only the front pins are going to be installed. Again, we're not doing the rear. All right, and just so you know, when you're installing any of these K-series directly to the slide itself, you do need shorter screws than what comes with the Holosuns. They come with a 12mm screw, and for the 407K and 507K, you'll need a 10mm. For the others, they have a slightly smaller deck height, so you need a 9mm screw. We sell all of it at freedomgorilla.com. If you're going to mount it directly to the slide, you'll need those screws. And lastly, I'll show you the K plates for the Echelon. Now, there are two different variations. The Holo K is for the 407K and 507K. The EPS is for the rest. The only difference between the two plates is really how the front nubs are and the side nubs here for the EPS plates, and it comes with smaller screws. So if you do get the Holo K plate, technically any of these could work, and that's no issue. If you get the EPS plate, only the EPS and the SCS carry will work on that. And last note is when you direct mount these, there's obviously a gap in their front and rear. The plate eliminates that gap entirely. So if you didn't want that gap, it makes the most sense for the K series because there's a much larger gap in the rear. All right, and there's all the Holosuns that'll fit on the Springfield Echelon, both with the plate and we're using the pin system. Now, the pin system is something that I find really cool. Very awesome that you're able to have multiple footprints. That way you're able to install any of the optics that you actually want to install on the pistol itself. Now, obviously there are some nuances to all those pins, and if you do need help and you're confused about any of the configurations, just hit us up, freedomgorilla.com. We'll be able to tell you how the optics install on the Echelon. Personally, I think the SCS 320, it looks the best on the Echelon. I think that is just a very nice combination. But all the optics do co-witness except for the 509T and the 509. If you're looking for a co-witness, either get taller iron sights or stay away from those two optics. But if you really did want an enclosed optic, the EPS full size or the carry fits on here very nicely and does co-witness. If you want more information on each individual optic that I covered in today's video, we do have all the guides on freedomgorilla.com, as well as everything in today's video, including the screws and plates, are available at freedomgorilla.com. As always, thanks for watching.